Welcome to Short Game Long Talk, a video game podcast for a hectic life. I am Eric, joined always by...
I'm Jess.
And returning with rent check in hand is our third host, basically.
Yep. Hi, I'm Grace.
Yeah, welcome back. No, we're not actually charging rent.
Oh no, they are. I Venmo'd them earlier.
We're charging her. Yeah, we're charging her the out of state fee, just like we charged Chris. But yeah, welcome to a very different episode. We played Doki Doki Literature Club, and before we get into that, I'm going to read the trigger warning straight from Dan Salvato, the creator of the game. So if any of these things they hit you hard, they can affect you in any way, we will be discussing all of these topics and probably more throughout this episode because they are in the game. So without further ado, I'm going to read this straight from Dan Salvato. Doki Doki Literature Club is a horror game. Please do not take this lightly. Doki Doki Literature Club may not be suitable for you if you are affected by any of the following themes: depression, suicide, self-harm, or abuse. These themes are not merely suggested, but are often portrayed as realistically as possible, and thus may disturb you as if they were real. Furthermore, the above list is not 100% exhaustive. For those with extra concern for their mental health, our recommendation of the safest approach is to avoid playing Doki Doki Literature Club. We trust that given your understanding of your own mental health, you are able to make the decision that is right for you. Thank you for your consideration and for staying safe. There's also a lot more trigger warning descriptions if you just look up Doki Doki Literature Club's like trigger warnings. There's also a warning at the beginning of the game when you play it, and there's also like a way of viewing everything. It's just kind of spoilery. This is about as least spoiler heavy as it can be. This episode is also going to be very different because we're not doing a intro really. I'm going to briefly go over some of the information about the game, when it came out, who made it, kind of that stuff, and we're going straight into spoilers, no intermissions. This game is just discussion heavy, and it's going to be extremely, extremely spoiler heavy. So just a forewarning, this is going to be a very different episode.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up the info about the game. We all played Doki Doki Literature Club, the base game, right? None of us played Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Okay.
Yeah, no plus.
So that's worth noting. We can kind of discuss that a little bit. I am going to buy that game when it's on sale because it unlocks like side stories with all the other characters. Mm-hmm. But you have to play through the whole thing again, which I'm like, worth noting. I completed it 100%. Where did you guys land in completion process?
Like, what do you mean?
So I did literally everything in the game. Like I unlocked every single thing and unlocked the quote unquote true ending.
I got one ending, and I think I skipped a part, if I'm going to be completely honest, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
I played through it like 3 times.
Okay.
And then I was kind of like over it a bit after that. And I looked up, watched a video on somebody else getting the true ending, and that's not something I would have ever intuitively come up with. So I was okay with not having unlocked that personally.
Okay. Yeah. No, I usually when it's a game like this that's like replay heavy, mm-hmm. I always usually take it on myself to get every true ending that I can for the show if possible. If it goes from a 4-hour game to a 20-hour game, I'm good. But this went from 4 hours to 7 hours, so I was like, I can push it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But so this game came out originally. It's free currently still. The base original version is still free on Steam. Came out in 2017, and then Plus came out for all consoles and on Steam for 2020 in 2021. It was developed by Team Salvato, which is Dan Salvato. I mentioned him earlier. We'll hear more from him later at the very end of the game. And basically, it is a game in the style of a dating sim. So the year of visual novels continues on Short Game Long Talk. And it has some other aspects that make it not so much just a dating sim. But basically, is there anything else you guys want to talk about the game prior to basically being like, we're just going to go straight into spoilers on this?
Yes, I have one quick question.
Okay.
Did you figure out the true ending on your own, or did
Absolutely
you look
not.
it up?
No,
Okay,
absolutely
okay.
not.
That's my only question.
No, I beat it. I noticed some things and I was like, that's not the real ending. And I looked up, does Doki Doki Literature Club have a true ending? And they're like, yes, it does. And I was like,
Okay.
all right, I know what I'm doing for the next 3 hours. And that's what I did.
Gotcha.
Okay, we may proceed.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is a very experimental episode we're doing. We're just going straight into spoilers right now. There's not going to be an intermission. If you want to go play this game, how long did it take you guys? Because the first time through, I think it took me like 3.5 hours.
I'm just gonna pull up my Steam really quick.
I think it took me 4 hours the first time.
Okay.
And then I played it like 3 times.
Nice.
Sorry, I gotta get my stats.
You're good.
Hello? Why is my Steam not working?
Steam does that.
If I tried to pull
There
up
we
my
go.
Steam right now, my laptop would explode.
I played 3.5 hours.
3.5. Okay.
I was slow, apparently.
Well, yeah, go on.
I was not like speed running it, but also kind of speed running it because I spent the weekend down with my family and I was supposed to be playing it all this weekend. So like I was in between like family events or like hanging out with my parents, like, all right, click this, like do that. So I was trying to like get through it as quick as possible.
That's fair.
I will also say that me and Jess both watched this game as a Let's Play around the time it came out. So
okay.
Obviously it's been 14 fucking years. So like I don't remember everything, but you can really only learn the twist of this game once and not forget it. Like it's kind of hard to not know. Like when you think of Doki Doki Literature Club, the twist is extremely you'll never forget it.
I'm gonna be sorry.
Yeah.
So, it's been 14 years? What?
No,
I thought it was
7 years. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, what the fuck? Okay,
I
sorry.
apologize.
Like I know I had like some like a little bit of background knowledge, but I didn't fully know. Like I thought I knew this video game until like I played it and I was like, oh shit, I did not know that that's how it went down.
Yeah.
So yeah, Grace, what's your background on this game exactly?
Okay. Yeah. So my friend who has a very distinct name, so I won't say it, told me I worked with him at the university that I worked at once. And I'm trying to be so vague.
Yeah.
Anyways, he told me about it and he basically was like, yeah, it's like a really, really cute anime game, but then it like gets fucked up.
Okay.
And so
he just told you that. I was like, that's fucked.
No. And he says, then it gets fucked up. And so I was like, oh, cool. He's like, and I remember him saying it was like psychological horror. And so that's all I've ever known about it. And I never looked into it.
I think that's the best pitch you can do without spoiling it. Like, yeah, it's definitely psychological for sure.
Yeah. But in my mind, I was like, oh my God, they're going to like start. I was thinking they're going to start murdering people or like there's going to be some kind of like other twist, that like not
Danganronpa.
Sure, I don't know what that is.
those are basically they're a bunch of high school students that get trapped in the apocalypse in a high school, and the only way they can get out is by killing somebody and getting away with it.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, like
you would
that.
love those games.
I'm sure I would. That does sound really fun. Yeah, but I didn't think that it was the twist was going to be what the twist ended up being.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I never ever Googled it, and so I was going into it pretty blind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you feel like this was a good experience then? Like going into it completely blind like that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I definitely like felt an adrenaline spike.
Really? That's awesome.
The twist happened. Like I wear a Fitbit to track my anxiety. Mental health. But yeah, it was like I checked my watch afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's awesome. Jess, did you have any like anxiety spikes while playing the game?
There was one, and we'll get into that later, but there's a part where I completely like hated it, and I did the classic like cover my eyes, like my whole face. I hated it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it
Okay.
was still like it's still such a good game.
So
Yeah.
with that,
Impactful.
it is very impactful and very
Yeah.
well done. I remembered what I thought was everything because I watched this playthrough from the Game Grumps, which makes it very memorable because they don't take anything seriously. And there's a
Mm.
very famous moment of Aaron, I think, knew the twist, and Dan, the other co-host, did not. And he lost his fucking mind when the twist happened. So everything's kind of been stuck in my head since then. But I was wrong. There was a point where I thought the game ended, and it did not. And I was like,
Mm.
"Oh shit, this is uncharted territories here." Um,
Okay.
so I definitely had some points, but more of I was not nervous. I was more just like giddy because I was like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen?" Like because I
Okay.
knew from the point that I didn't know, I was like, I don't know, I don't think it gets that much darker, but I'm like morbidly curious on what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
So should I go into the kind of the setup for this game, or does somebody else want to take that? Because I'm totally open to whichever.
You can go
I'm
into it.
cool with whatever. You can go
Okay.
into it.
So you play as you name your character. I don't think they ever gender your character either, do they?
They do. Yeah.
do
It's a
They
guy.
do. Right.
in the
They do.
first like scene because one of them is like, "You brought a boy to this club."
Right. You're
Yeah,
right.
I know. And I named myself my own name. So I
I
was
Right.
like,
also named
ah.
myself my own name, so I was like, yes,
Yeah.
Jess the boy.
Yeah. So you play as if you've ever the other thing I'm going to go into during this is like how accurate to a dating sim this game is, and
Mhm.
especially because since this game came out, I have played like multiple very well made dating sims, including like the mother of all dating sims from like the 90s, and it's crazy how accurate this game is to like duplicating that and getting you to like these characters, and then
Mhm.
throwing in the fun mechanic of like how you build relationship with them is like writing a poem for them.
Mhm.
But you play as yourself or whoever, the main character, and you're a high school student. I think he's a second year, I would assume, because they never really bring up like entrance exams or anything else like that. But they also bring up the fact that one of the characters is younger than them in like a first year. So I feel like Japanese high school games, you're always playing as a second year. I
Mhm.
don't think I've ever
Mhm.
played a game where you play a first year or a third year. Um, your neighbor is Sayori. She is a like chronically late cutesy girl who sleeps in a lot. Um, and she convinces you to join her club that she is the vice president of, which is not shocking, the literature club,
Mhm.
which is where you meet the other three possible love interests of this game. I'll name them off, and then we can go into talking about which ones our favorites are and kind of describing them a bit. Because I feel like it's worth talking about them prior to the twist, right? Like, how did we feel about
Yeah.
them prior to the twist? Because that's who I believe that they truly are. I don't think a lot of the twist stuff is like their actual people, because there's some stuff that I've read into deeply during the game that I'm like, this is all like they got fucked up by the game itself. So we meet tall, purple hair, much more mature and quiet Yuri. We have very small, demure, pink haired Natsuki. She is first year. And then we meet the president of the literature club, most popular and pretty perfect girl in school, classic dating sim trope, Monica.
Yes. Wait,
Those
hold
are
on.
our,
I have an objection, Your Honor.
yeah. What?
Okay. Natsuki was not demure.
She
Oh,
is
okay.
not demure. I was gonna
Not you
like
said demure, and we were
Well,
yeah, me and Jess were both looking like
okay. In
she's
my head,
arrogant and sassy, okay? But she's small.
that's
Okay.
I'm using it in the term of describing small. She's just tiny.
Incorrect.
Diminutive. There we go. That's the word.
Okay, perfect.
Diminutive.
Perfect.
Natsuki. Yeah. She like literally her whole characteristic is that she's like extremely rude and sassy because she hates being younger than everyone.
Mhm.
All very classic tropes. Like
Yes.
every single one of these is like, if you've ever watched an anime that's like a slice of life, these characters will exist in there most likely.
Mhm.
So how do we feel about these characters? Like, we want to go down the line, or do we just want to take turns talking about our favorites?
let's go down the line. What do you guys think of
Sure.
Natsuki?
I loved her.
Yeah. I mean, Grace, I
I
don't want to say too
related
much. Yeah. Like
way too hard to her.
I
small,
loved her.
sassy, colored
Yeah,
hair.
small, angry,
Yeah.
overly arrogant.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to be her friend, like so
Yeah.
bad. Like I didn't want to like romance her. I was like, oh, she's just so like cute. I want to be her friend.
Yeah.
Right. No, I totally agree with that. Like I loved Natsuki and I didn't think that I was going to like her because I remember like my memory of her being like really annoying.
Mm.
But now as like an adult who's like I see why she's like that and I'm like, no, you need to be protected.
Yeah.
You seriously need to be protected. And that was before like finding out like what her dark side is.
Yeah. I
But
also really liked that she was very like defensive of manga as a literature form. And
yes.
it
Yes.
is, you know, like
Mhm.
I feel that because I also have my own little like things like that. Like I love reality TV
Mm.
as like a way of understanding human nature. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like it's just like that under a microscope, but with like an added layer of people you don't see manipulating everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
like I
100%.
related to that so hard.
No, I agree. The manga thing, I was like, yeah. Especially now, like now
Mhm.
that I'm more into the world of manga, I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
And
Like,
even like video games, you know,
mhm.
like
Yeah.
particularly this one was like such a well done piece of art. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
This
Yeah.
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 This game is art for sure.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
Jess, anything else on Natsuki?
She just reminded me a lot of like my childhood friends.
Yeah.
Like, because I was always like, I never was spunky and like, I was only sassy to my family. So
Right.
like seeing someone like sassy and spunky in the classroom, I was like, oh, that's my childhood friends.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I literally was like, this is Grace. Like,
I know he's all over here. Like at first I thought she was annoying and I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I've heard this story before.
Yeah. And now Grace needs to be protected, obviously.
Yeah, at all
Uh,
costs.
at all costs. Yeah, no, Natsuki's great, and like I really really enjoyed the scenes with her that we'll talk about later as we like go down the story a little bit more. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
next we can talk about Yuri. I think Jess, this was your favorite. I think based off of either I don't know how I know this, but I saw something. I think you either posted it on Instagram or you sent it to me on Snapchat, so I know
I
it's your
sent it to
favorite.
you.
So go ahead and like take the reins on Yuri.
I just love Yuri because I relate to her. And like I mean, especially like right now in classes for like
Mhm.
college, I show up, I show up 30 minutes early. I do whatever I want to do on my laptop. I don't talk to anyone in my classes, and then I go home and I read my book.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
and I have
yeah.
like my solid friend group that I like hang out with, but I don't make friends in the classroom because I don't like. It's
I
not that
did.
I don't need to. It's just
No, I did the same thing in college. Like I did not. I made maybe two friends all through college because I was like, I'm here to get my education and go home.
and leave.
That was it. But yeah, I'm very curious, Grace, what your take on Yuri was.
Oh, I liked Yuri too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I I feel like I like a character that seems very like I don't know, she gave like a polished and put together vibe at the
Mm.
beginning and also loved horror, you know? So that's always like a fun little like ooh.
yeah. Her words that you pick during the poems are so funny and it's
So
so
Yeah.
funny.
easy because every
Yes.
time it's a long word, you're just like that one. Like,
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. So I liked her.
yeah,
She
she
was
was
fun.
cool. She was cool, and then I'll have more to say about her later.
Mm.
Mm.
Because I didn't really have too much to say about her when I first met her, like in the pre twist universe.
Mhm.
Because I was like, yeah, she's she's quiet. I liked the scenes that you get, like the one-on-one scenes with her a lot. The fact that she
Mhm.
buys you a book
That was really
to,
sweet.
to
Oh, it's
read
so
with you. I
cute.
was like, what a dork, but I love that. She's like, oh, I accidentally bought two. I was like, sure you did, sure. But yeah, she's cute. All of them are cute, except for I think we'll get to her in a moment. But Jess, you were gonna say something.
I just remembered I not by like I wasn't trying. I was just picking words that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time I was choosing poems, I kept choosing poems for Yuri. It was not
Nice.
me like trying to do it. I was just like, oh, that word sounds good. Oh, that word sounds good. Oh, that word, and it kept showing that I was picking Yuri. I was like, damn.
Right. That's so funny. Hey, you know, it worked out. So
Yeah.
did you get all scenes with Yuri then?
Yeah.
Nice. I did. I got one scene with every character my first time through by accident. Which I was like, this was the worst possible way to play through this, but that's okay. Next up, I'm gonna save the president for last because there's lots to say about her. But Sayori, I'm going to start because Sayori is my absolute favorite. I fucking love Sayori, and I am the second I ever play a dating sim and they introduce a like childhood friend character like that. If it's well written, it's going to get me every single fucking time because it is so the way that this game like the way it's written basically is like she's the true like ending and like normally in a dating sim everybody's written to that level but it's always the girl next door like childhood friend one that always ends up the best and also just what happens to Sayori as she crumbles in this game is so heartbreaking and I will talk about it a bit more in the true ending of like her breaking out of that is incredible and I was just like she's so well written she expresses like the feelings that I was probably going through at that age like so well and like the phrasing on certain things that we'll talk about is like because I'm sure we'll go over like our favorite lines and things like that. She's just so cute and well done and like the true Sayori that is in this game prior to the president fucking with things is like perfect. Like she is such a good character. What was your guys' opinion on Sayori? Whoever wants to go next.
Okay, me. I liked Sayori. I definitely like just in my brain, I only saw her as like the best friend. I was like, she's just my best friend because I have I've had a track record that my best friends like who I try to like have some type of like romantic relationship with, it just ends up bad. So I was like, she's my best friend and it's gonna stay that way.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I liked her a lot too. I thought she was really cute. But yeah, I'm in the same boat with Jess. I was like, okay, yeah, she's my best friend. We're gonna stay best friends, and I'm just gonna like, play with these other people.
Yeah. Did you guys have any scenes? So, well, we can like. Did you guys have any scenes with Sayori, like the one-on-one scenes that you
in the
get
first
for, like,
playthrough?
Yeah, for like getting the poems. Did you get like any of the poem scenes with her?
I got one with her, and it was like where he's like buttoning up her jacket.
Yeah.
That was the only one though.
I get that.
Yeah,
Those scenes are very cute.
Sayori and Natsuki, their like words for the poems are very similar.
Very similar.
Like when I was doing the poems, it just kept being just like them alternating, hopping up and down, it was very hard to like try to differentiate that.
I'll side note real quick, to like describe the poem mini game. I mean, you've probably, if you're at this point, you've probably played it. But it's basically, I would say like 20 words, right? Is roughly how many there are.
Yeah.
There's 20 words on a page, and then on the left side, there's a bunch of chibi versions of all four girls, or only three girls, which is worth noting because there's a reason we haven't talked about Monica. We haven't talked about Monica yet, and there's a reason. All three girls, and you pick. They're all a bunch of random words, but they all kind of have a theme to one of the girls. Like there's very easy ones where like Natsuki is kawaii. If you click on kawaii, she jumps up. If you pick on like any of the big like literature words, it's going to be for Yuri. And then Sayori is extremely difficult because she falls into both of them.
Like sunshine, I would think would be like Natsuki, and then it would be fucking Sayori.
Sayori, yeah. So that's basically the way it works. And you pick 20 words, and then it moves on. And then your next day that you write a poem, for the literature club, whoever you wrote that poem for the most, like whichever one got the most points, will react well to it, and then you'll get a special scene with them afterwards. So that is the game. That is it game wise. Like there is nothing else game wise. There's hardly any choice in this visual novel, which is like crazy. There's even a point where they take every choice away from you, which we'll get to. But speaking of taking all choices away from you, Monica, what did we think about the president, Monica?
I loved her.
You take this one, Grace.
You loved Monica?
At the beginning, yeah. So I was like, okay, great. Stereotypical anime club president, type A, very popular with the boys, academically gifted, like is
why is she
gunning
talking
for
to me?
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was cracking up at her character because in her dialogue, she gives you tips for the game.
Yes.
So in my mind, I was like, oh, she's just like a game dev. Like she's just in there as like a tutorial, but they've written it into the story kind of a thing. And I thought that was like the most cute, clever way to do that. So I was like so excited about Monica's character at first because I was just like,
a couple of my favorite lines from the game period are, she says, "Don't forget to save your game," and then that joke makes no sense in translation, and I was like, excuse me, because it doesn't make sense in English. And then humans aren't two-dimensional creatures. You would know that better than anyone. And I was like, excuse me. What did you just say? Shit like that is like sprinkled throughout the first like half of this game, and you're just like, huh? What is that? What do you mean?
It's worth noting that the translation one was like a response to something that another character says to try to make fun of somebody's name. And I assume it has to do with like the kanji of that character's name.
Exactly.
But this game was never translated to English, which is like, if you don't know that little level of it, you just assume like, oh, it must have been a Japanese game, but it never was. They were just like really layering in the fact that they were making fun of like dating sims, classic anime Japanese dating sims.
Yeah. No, Monica, I will say this extremely like vaguely because we'll get into it more. I felt so bad for her the first time I played through this game.
Really?
Yes. Which we'll get into more once like post twist and stuff. I will just say that like I felt bad for her because she has no options in this game. There is nothing for her in this game. And the twist of this game is basically like reveals that she has no control over her own game. And I felt really bad for her. But then I didn't the more I played through and got to that final like true ending. I don't hate Monica, but I really felt bad for her. But then I was like, actually, never mind. You deserve this.
Oh, interesting.
So we'll get into that a bit more. Jess, what was your take on Monica?
I didn't particularly like her. She's like my least favorite, if I'm going to be completely honest. Just because there were like, and maybe it's just how, like all the dialogue was set up, and because, the twist at the end where she doesn't have really control over the game or whatever. But like, I don't know. I found some of her dialogue like condescending in in my first playthrough. And it also could just be like my choices and stuff. But I was like, I get you're the president and whatever, and you do all this stuff, but like, chill out.
Yeah. She definitely gets a lot more hostile, like prior to the twist. And just because she's annoyed with the other girls. And she starts to get jealous. And so, yeah, I could definitely see if you don't like her from the jump, you're starting at like below where like I liked her at the start. So the thing she didn't like make me hate her right away. But if you like don't like her from the start, like everything she does is just making it worse. So do we want to talk about the cutesy stuff that happens prior to the twist, or do we want to get into the twist?
I have something cutesy that happens right before the twist, but
I mean, so Jess, you got all the Yuri scenes. Grace, did you get a Sayori scene and a Natsuki scene, or What scenes
Yes.
did you get?
Yeah, actually, I think I did get one of each the
Yeah.
first playthrough.
Okay, so I'm looking at my so I think this is a good point to just kind of talk about the cutesy scenes because like I got one of each, like I said. So I want to hear your guys's. So let's go with somebody who like actually ended up dating somebody, which is Jess, who
Yeah.
ended up dating Yuri. You got all two
I got
scenes,
them.
and then I'm assuming you picked to help her for the
Yes.
event. Okay.
But it didn't. I don't know how it like usually goes, but
Okay.
we what's it called?
You guys read together. That's the
Yeah,
first scene.
we read together. And I was not taking notes, so I'm a little hazy about this.
You don't have to be
Read
like for these
together,
scenes. You don't have to be too descriptive
and
because it's not the point. They're cute,
they're
but
cute.
it's not the
And
point.
I loved the art style of
Yes.
like when it would cut to like us reading together, and it like
Yeah.
showed the details of her face. It was really cute.
Mhm.
We read together. She made tea. And then the next time we read together, we read on the floor. Same as the other time, but she was holding
Mhm.
the book.
Right.
And I had brought chocolates. And
Yes.
so I fed her a chocolate.
Yeah. And then you just
and
made her freeze in awkwardness.
and then she just kind of,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's
That's
very like
also
it's very anime. It's very like just cutesy high school stuff that would like it could happen. It's pretty well written too.
yeah.
The I do like the fact that the reason she has to sit sit against the wall is for her posture, and like they're trying to
Her
avoid the fact that she has big
posture.
boobs that hurt her back, and the main character is like, yeah, it's because you got bad reading posture, and she's like, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
So funny, just complete oblivious. um yeah, so you did those, and then
Uh-huh. And
then you helped her with the signs,
banners.
yeah,
Yeah.
and stuff. Grace, what did you pick for the event over the weekend to like help either Natsuki or Yuri?
I'm trying to remember. The
Did you
first
bake?
time? No. No,
Okay, so
I've
you
helped Yuri.
okay, so cool.
Yeah.
You guys can share your experience on this one a little bit. But yeah, you're basically there's a culture festival which happens in Japanese high schools,
Mhm.
and every class gets like assigned a thing, or if you run a club, you do a thing, and they're doing an open mic night basically for reading poems. And she's a good baker, so she's going to bake a bunch of cupcakes. Monica and Sayori are going to work on the flyers that are going
Mhm.
out, and Yuri is going to pick the vibes, basically,
Yeah.
and make vibes. So you get a choice at that matter. And this is one of the reasons, right, that I felt bad for Monica, because I was like, yeah, I want to go spend time with Monica. I don't get to any other time. So I picked it,
Mm.
and it just
Mhm.
locked me out of it, not being able to.
No, that's what I did too. I
Hmm.
first chose Sayori because
Hmm.
that was an option. It was like dot dot dot
Me too.
Sayori.
Yeah.
I first chose that, and they were like, Sayori's already helping Monica, and so I was like, Monica, and they were
Yeah.
like, Monica already has Sayori, and I was like, fuck, I
Yeah.
don't want to choose these two.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I ended up going with Natsuki for that one. But like
Mm.
I said, I played everything, so I can talk about whichever. Um,
Yeah.
did
Yuri's
you?
was like
Yeah, go on.
she comes over to your house and you're like decorating
Hmm.
like you're making little like pieces of origami paper with like a word on them on
Hmm.
each one to like
For
hang
for the door.
at the
Um,
door, which like they were like, wow, that's so creative. And I was like,
Yeah, they were just like, because your character is literally like, oh, so I just write the characters, and
yeah,
Yuri was like, yep, that's it. I
yeah.
was like,
yeah.
okay.
She also makes blackout screens for the windows and
Mhm.
a sign that goes behind you when you're doing the poems, which is more creative. But yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and that's when she like you get a weird scene with her,
Mhm.
which is the knife that she has, and you
Her
accidentally cut.
ocean
Oh
waves
yeah.
knife.
Yeah,
You
you
accidentally
accidentally.
cut your finger, and
Yep.
then she, in a panic, puts your finger in her mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is what you would do if you were like a loved one, maybe. or yourself. But she just fully like, yeah, which you're like, that's a little strange. But obviously in visual novels like this, it's supposed to be a slightly like, especially in the high school setting ones and the more like non-pornographic like visual novel games, it's supposed to be like a cutesy thing. But you're also like, oh, it's like implied like, if this were to happen to you in high school, like how would you feel, kind of thing. But it is also like strange in retrospect because I didn't do Yuri's until after I beat the game. So I was like, why do you have that knife, ma'am? But yeah, so I think Yuri's is pretty cute. I like her three little scenes that she has. Yeah.
Sorry, but I think also the really funny thing about that Yuri scene where she like licks the blood off your finger is your character is like, that's fucking weird. But I don't know if it's different just because I was like romancing her the entire time. But my character ended up just like grabbing her hand and licking her finger back.
Yeah.
And was like, there, we're even now.
Right.
It was the same, yeah.
Okay,
Like to
good.
like make it like, oh, like you don't have to feel awkward, which was cute. But
yeah,
it was really
I thought
cute.
that was a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Both of these scenes, I will say, if you go and help Natsuki bake, you also lick her finger. So
yeah, that's true, huh?
That's just what happens. Yeah, let me see if there's anything I wrote down for these scenes. No, so you did the whole Yuri path. What scenes did you get, Grace, for your poems? Like, so you got one of each. I'm curious if we got different ones or if we ended up getting the same ones. Because I got Yuri first.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to remember the order of the cutscenes that I got. I got reading with Yuri
At the desk.
And then I got
the button thing with
Sayori, the
Sayori.
button thing. Yeah, and then I got something else with Yuri,
which was the art thing. Okay.
I don't know why I wanted to say the party planning committee, but
yeah. So we know the base one.
yeah.
I vaguely remember the Sayori one, and from what I remember, you can help me if I'm wrong on this, but it felt like basically it was kind of a cute scene that happens in these movies where, you know, you have a childhood friend and there's got to be a scene that like opens you up to seeing them romantically. This is basically that scene where he's like, you know, he's like, you need to button up your school like jacket, like you're always unbuttoned, which she is. She's the only one that always has her shirt unbuttoned or her jacket unbuttoned for her uniform. And basically it's a little cutesy scene where he's like trying to button it up and basically saying that like that she's grown out of it and she never actually buttons it. And he's like, you would have known if you've ever actually tried to button this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically implying that like since she's now like a second year, her boobs have gotten bigger, and that's basically it. Which is very like par for the course visual novel thing, but it's also like it's it is implied that that's the reason, but it's never like sexualized in a way, which is nice because it does keep it kind of like this innocent thing. But it's a pretty cute scene. Any scene with Sayori, I think, is like pretty well done. Just talking about how they used to be as kids and things like that. But that is the first one. So me and Grace got the exact same scenes then.
Okay,
except I chose to go do
debate.
Because I was like, well, I did one Yuri, one Sayori. I was like, well, I'm already fucked. I might as well just go do Natsuki to get one of each.
Yeah.
The baking scene is very cute. I prefer it over Yuri's, I think.
Yes.
Because Natsuki chills the fuck out for once. Because she's like alone with you. She's like really into baking. It's very cute. It makes sense why she needs help because it's like, that was the other reason. I was like, I don't think Yuri needs help. Like, Natsuki said she doesn't need help to bake all these cupcakes, but she's baking like 100 of them. So it's like,
yes.
And
as somebody who baked in high school a lot, like that, sometimes I'd be up till like 2 a.m.
Right.
For like somebody's fucking birthday or some shit.
Right. That's a lot of cupcakes. So
yeah.
You basically just do all the cutesy stuff, and then I think you get in like a semi-food fight or something like that, and then end up like licking the frosting off of her finger. And
Oh yeah,
then
you're not whipping the whipped cream well enough.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like all chunky. And it's cute, it's nothing serious. The other scenes I can talk about, like Grace, did you have anything to add for that scene? Because it was pretty cut and dry. Like there wasn't even
Yeah.
anything weird about it. Like in retrospect, after you beat the
Mhm.
game, I don't think like Natsuki's the most mysterious character to me,
Mhm.
because they don't elaborate too much. There's like one singular scene period I think that elaborates on what her trauma is,
Yeah.
post twist, whereas like Yuri's, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know exactly
Yeah.
what Yuri's is. So I think the other Natsuki scenes are very cute though. The two scenes that you get because they involve reading manga with her, which is very cute.
Oh.
Um,
Mhm.
Grace, did you get any of those on your second time through?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah. I got both of them, I think.
Okay. What did you
Yeah.
think of those?
I thought they were super cute. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're reading manga on the floor at first, and
hmm
then she's like trying to reorganize the closet because Monica moved her manga around,
Yeah, which
and
she
she like
always does.
hits her head. No, somebody else hits her head. Sayori hits her head,
Yes.
right? Okay. Something happens though with the manga, and there's like a
So
cutscene with like her box and the manga.
that's yeah. Sayori hits her head on in a different in Sayori's second scene
Okay,
is when
gotcha.
she gets her head hit.
Both in the closet though, right?
Yes, it is in that same area. She's getting like supplies, I think. She's
Mm-hmm.
getting art supplies from a different class, is what
Yeah.
Sayori is doing.
Mm.
But yeah, the manga ones is basically like, yeah, she gets the manga down. Do you remember what the name of the manga is?
No.
I believe it is. It's basically it's a baking anime or a baking manga. I'm pretty
Oh
sure
yeah.
it's. I think it's not Souffle Girls, but it's something like that. It is. I'm trying to remember. I had it at it's not tiramisu. It's like something around there. I'm like so close. What is the thing that you crack with
Creme
the
brulee.
yeah,
Creme brulee?
I
Creme
think it
brulee girls?
I think it's creme brulee girls.
Hold on, I'm
Um
looking.
yeah. But basically yeah, you read it and it's very cute and then yeah, the what I will say is we're going to be getting to the twist soon.
Yes,
Um
almost there.
but the scenes when after playing through the game once, these scenes are so much more unnerving because like you get to
Mhm.
see what they actually are, um and like what the difference is, because for me on after the twist I got this scene with Natsuki, but it's completely different,
Mm.
like the ending of it. This ending, like she doesn't fall asleep. In the normal one you guys just read and it's cute and that's it. And then the second one, kind of blanking on what the second one is. Do you remember, Grace?
What with the
With
Natsuki?
Natsuki? Yeah, with the manga.
No.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up an image and then that might remind me.
I will say this is like before you have the scene with Yuri,
hmm
Mhm.
where you have the choice to like just stay home or go see Sayori because she was acting weird the day before.
Right.
Mhm.
I had that scene with Sayori because I went to go check on her and I kept going to like see her even though she didn't come to the door.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, so we had a scene where we hugged and like talked some things out about her like feeling sad and all that.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
scene happens no matter what. That
Okay.
Right.
is a
Yeah.
lock scene. I do remember.
Mhm.
This is what's good about this game is like I can just look at an image. The second Natsuki scene is that that's when she's rearranging she's trying to get the books down
Okay,
from the
yeah.
top shelf, and that's when you get the classic like she thinks you're looking up her skirt when you're just supporting her because she's a psychopath who's standing on a rolling chair,
That's right.
uh, and trying not, and then she falls and you guys fall together and she lands on top of you. Classic
Yeah.
anime
Classic.
shit.
Classic.
But yeah, that was the other Natsuki scene. Hers are very cute and funny. Yuri's are much more like you feel like a connection there, which is good because I'm like, yeah, Natsuki's like a freshman. Well, she's technically like a sophomore in the way Japanese high school works, which I recently
Mhm.
found out. You would think I would know after all of the Persona I've played, but I had to look it up. I was like, oh, okay, got it. It's like you start as a sophomore, which makes
Yes.
way more sense. But yeah, I think her scenes are very cute. I think there's nothing really like crazy about him, but in retrospect, there is the second scene. The scene you get with her after the twist is crazy. But Jess, you set us up for a great transition. That scene with Sayori, which is like so heartfelt, because Sayori she's not feeling good. She's kind of like down on the dumps. You go to hang out with, because this is on the third day. You go to hang out with whoever of the girls. Basically, whoever you were going to get your third scene with doesn't happen no matter what. So if you were focused on Yuri and you got all of her prompts on the poem thing, you don't get that last scene with her. Instead, you go check on Sayori. You have a really, really heartfelt like talk with her, which I didn't take down any notes on that because I was just like engrossed in like the writing of it.
Yeah, me too.
Are you talking about the first conversation or the conversation?
First one where she's
before you hang out with the other love interest?
Before the weekend. I think this happens on like Friday, and then the weekend happens. That scene of her talking about just always wanting people to be happy. She wants to make everyone happy so that your main character doesn't have to worry about her anymore. And I was like, God damn, this is so like it is really close to home. Especially for this age, like Sayori identifying where she is like, I want everyone to be happy. I want to take away like everyone else's problems and listen to all their problems and like always put on a brave face and stuff like that. That's me in middle school and is why I developed depression. So I was like, Sayori, no, don't do it. It's a trap. Literally stop. So that was, I think, really well written. And I don't want to like say too many quotes about it because it's like, I think reading that for yourself is worth it. What do you guys take from that scene?
She is already aware that she has depression though. She's like very open about like, I have depression. That's why I don't button my shirt, and that's why I'm always late to school, and that's why, like all of these things that we think are cute and quirky are actually a symptom of the mental health stuff that she had been going through. And you as a character playing the game just never know, like, don't attribute it to that because you're just attributing it to a generic trope in an anime.
Which is so well done because it's like, why would you? There's always the Slavic like late girl, like totally fine. There's the like normally how you meet that girl is they run into you in the hallway, right? Like they knock you over because they're running late for class, and it's like, that's just a totally normal thing. And to flip that on its head because like those are major signs of depression are like, I was like A+, so good.
Yeah, Jess, you look like you wanted to say something. Earlier.
Yeah, I like because I also like kind of like probably not to the extent that Sayori did, but like I remember a while ago, like freshman year of high school, I was like talking to one of my friends and I was like, yeah, like I don't want to tell anyone like my like what I'm going through because I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to like, and then seeing Sayori being like, oh, I don't want people to worry about me. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Also, the interpretation of people worrying about her as being a punishment, like the universe or whatever was punishing her by making other people worry about her. That was like a really interesting thing as well.
Yeah. Like her feeling like the fact that your main character cares about her is a punishment for whatever reason in her mind is like, it was crazy. It's like, I like when you're in that dark pit, like nothing makes sense, but like there is a way for that to make sense for her. And it was just like, oh man. Yeah. There's the way, that's another reason why I really like Sayori is just like the way she's handled. I'm like, the way she speaks about and this is the first time in her life that she's talked to somebody about this. And it really, really makes an impact. How much like she's been struggling with this. And there's also, so she mentions rain clouds a lot, which is what she calls her like depressive episodes. And on a second playthrough, she mentions one of those very early on. She mentions rain clouds, but it's like so nonchalant and it's like, oh shit. Like it's like, literally no matter what world you're in, these girls definitely have their struggles, but because of what we'll talk about in a little bit, it gets amplified to the point of like it just like speeds up because they get something basically put in their code as a game. But yeah, go on.
I will say too, like with Sayori, like her very first, I wrote down notes about her very first poem because right off the bat I was like, it's called Bottles, and it's
Yes.
written as body horror. So it has the imagery of her pulling her scalp off and using her fingers to pick out like the things, memories and stuff out of her brain, and like giving them to other people, to her friends, to make them happy until she has nothing and she's basically just like a shell of herself. So like right off the bat, she kind of already is telling you, and that coupled with like, you know, her generic character trope that isn't generic at all, like it almost feels like you should have known, you know? And that's a feeling that a lot of people do get when something happens in the way that stuff happens to say, or something happens to Sayori right after that scene. That's like a feeling that is familiar to people who have been close to somebody who
it's like that was, I think, literally my favorite poem in the game. Like it is so well done. And then like that's exactly how I felt in middle school, like to a T, of like giving things away to make other people feel better, and then you have nothing left. That scene. And I think, is that her first or her second poem?
I think that's her first poem. Let me double check.
Yeah, because I'm curious, because I could have sworn her.
I don't think you get to read her second poem because she
leaves early.
No, she leaves early on the third day.
Oh, you're right.
Let me see. I'm curious. No, the first one is Dear Sunshine.
Oh, that's right.
So, which is a very basic one that ends with the line, "I want breakfast." So
that's right.
Yeah, it's definitely a little cute. But it is like, you can still, there's still
still says, "Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day?"
Right.
So she is already signaling.
That's why she definitely has depression no matter what. But the stuff that happens between this poem and the next poem. Like, we don't know that. We don't know anything happens until after her last poem, which is the one that's just "get out of my head" 100 times. That's that. She wrote that. It's literally like, "Get out of my head" a bunch, and then "Get out of my head before I do what I know is best for you. Get out of my head before I listen to everything she said to me. Get out of my head before I show you how much I love you, and get out of my head before I finish writing this poem." That is what she submitted to the culture festival for being read.
Right.
But we did miss the scene after where like you hug Sayori, right? Jess alluded to her earlier. You hug Sayori, and then you can confess your love to her, or say that you're going to like always be friends, or always be like my dear friend, or something. I forget the wording. And then you hug, and it's very cute, and then you go on to the culture festival, which is where you read that poem and rush home. And who wants to take this part?
I will, because I have a really funny thing. So when when you hug Sayori, you know, there's either you can be friends or you can profess your love. And I was like, in my brain, I was like, fight or flight. I was like, okay, she's like, she just told me she's about to like go crazy. What do I do? And so I was like, okay, but technically I do love her. And it just says, "I love you, Sayori," or "we'll always be friends." So I was just like, "I love you, Sayori." And then it turned into the like romance. And I was like, oh, I did not mean to do that, but okay. So I was like, cool. She's my girlfriend now. But basically you rush home after the culture festival. And you go up to her room, and it starts exactly the way that it happened the scene before, where she doesn't answer the door, but you guys are childhood friends, so you just walk in like family. She doesn't answer when you call out her name, so you go up to her room, you knock on her door, you open the door, and then you see her hanging. So basically she hung herself over the night. My first reaction, I have it quoted right here. I turned to M because they were sitting right behind me, and I go, "She's dead. She's fucking dead. I asked her to be my girlfriend, and she killed herself."
Yeah.
that
Eric,
that's
Um,
yeah.
which choice did you pick out of the
I was
two
in
I
love
list?
with Sayori. Like
Okay.
I dated
Damn.
everyone like one time and I was like, nah, Sayori. I knew what
Sayori.
was gonna happen to her, right? I
Yeah.
mentioned I knew this twist, and I was like, I know nothing changes. There's no difference.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna like make sure that she knows that she's loved. Um,
No.
and yeah, so I this was the thing that I knew. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
really hard to forget. I don't think you can ever forget this, because then it also like the game freaks out immediately, and like
Yes.
there's like a crazy cut and things like that. But Grace,
Yeah.
you didn't know.
No, I didn't know. And I chose to friend zone her.
How
Ooh.
did that go?
So that goes much differently. She basically turns around, falls to her knees, and just like screams.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And then she gets up and like runs away.
Oh shit! Back into her
Yes.
house.
Yes. So I was like, oh, fuck. Like
Yeah.
immediately I was like, fuck. And then, yeah, you go to the festival, whatever. And I was like, this is where my heart rate started to pick up because I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
fuck,
yeah,
fuck,
yeah.
fuck, fuck,
That
fuck.
makes sense.
Yeah, because I knew and I hadn't saved yet. So I couldn't
Oh.
go back. And I remembered immediately too, like, this is the thing that I thought was so brilliant about this because
Hmm.
unfortunately I have experienced, somebody in my life took
Right.
their own life.
Mhm.
And I immediately was like coming up with solutions of how I could undo it.
Hmm.
And I saw, there's like text about like to go into the files and like try to find something or whatever. So I tried to do that and I was like, fuck, I don't want to like restart this whole goddamn game.
Hmm.
Um and then what else? But then yeah, that feeling of like I looked back at my notes and the notes I took on her poems and I
Hmm.
was just like, fuck, I should have seen like this is something I should have
Right.
seen. And that
Mhm.
feeling is so real. It like
Mhm.
you know, um that's just what goes through your head when you're dealing with like that type of grief.
Yeah.
Even though obviously she's like a fictional character and I know that's like not a real. I wasn't like really experiencing grief, but it does simulate those
Mhm.
like
You're also placed in
immediate thoughts.
you're placed in a situation where you have control, right?
Yeah,
Like you're
Yeah.
playing a video game. You
exactly.
normally would have control to prevent something like this. So when
Yeah,
it's taken away from
exactly.
you, you're like, hold on, wait. I'm supposed to be able to do this is a video game. I'm supposed to be having fun right now. I'm not having fun,
Mhm.
Dan Salvato. I'm stressed right now.
Right.
Um, yeah,
And
that's
then it just
crazy.
resets.
Yeah. So yeah, then it resets and glitches out, and the game starts over.
Mhm.
The main title is there's one at the main title of the game, like the main menu, it has all four girls on it. Now it doesn't. Sayori's character model is a glitched out
No.
version of all three of the remaining girls.
Mhm.
And then you go in, it starts normally. It says instead of Sayori's name, it's a bunch of like gibberish, like
Mhm.
wingdings basically.
Yeah.
And then the game glitches again, and then it changes the whole script and basically
Mm.
says like, I am going to school. I don't have a friend. I'm completely alone. Like it's
Mhm.
just Sayori
Walk
is
to school
gone.
all alone like I always do every
Like I
day.
always do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it goes on completely normal. Except Monica is the one that approaches you in your classroom to get you to join
The
the
literature
literature club.
Yeah.
And Monica is the president still. Yuri is the vice president. And Natsuki is still there. But it very quickly like dissolves into like chaos because Sayori is a treasure and she is a glue that holds these crazy people together apparently.
Mhm.
Because it all goes south very quickly because there are these scenes intermediately throughout the game where Sayori diffuses situations. There's even a scene
Mhm.
where you can ask for Sayori to diffuse a situation for you, and she always does in a way that
Mm.
only she can. And then there's later a scene where, uh, depending on who you pick to side with, Yuri or Natsuki will like say a line that's like remnant of Sayori to kind of be more like her to calm the other person down, and it's really nice. But now she's gone, and everything starts to get real weird. So obviously the first thing was the text. Like once you're in game, the first thing is the text that's weird. What was the first thing that made you like? Obviously, at this point, you're probably like to the reaction of Sayori hanging herself is like you're like freaked out. Like what was your guys' first like? Oh, what the fuck is like happening? Was it the text? Was it something else that made you like super uncomfortable? Like what was it?
I have 3 like because I was typing these messages out as I was like playing.
Okay, perfect.
So and they're very brief, and so title screen weird, dialogue weird, girl 1, girl 2. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the dialogue with the like wingdings and like Sayori's name being cut out, and then I was like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. It's the game trying to fix itself. And then it was like, I'm going to school as I always do, all by myself. I'm sitting in the classroom as I always do, all by myself.
Yeah.
Why is Monica, the head girl, approaching me? I was like, this is weird. Like this isn't how like the subtext of the dialogue was like changed because Sayori wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Did you find the little Easter egg in there? Like where it says like when she's hanging, I think behind her, there's like a little text that says like go, or it says
the
like
execution.
read. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that.
Okay, yeah.
So,
there's
I have exactly what I screenshotted that. So an exception has occurred. File game/script blah 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 blah. See trackback text for details.
Oh,
so
okay, I did see that.
I have that. I'll read that to you guys right now. So basically, it looks all normal, and then there's a point where it says restart top context. It says, "Oh geez, I didn't break anything, did I? Hold on a sec. I can probably fix this. I think." Actually, you know what? This would probably be a lot easier if I just deleted her. She's the one who's making this difficult. Well, here goes nothing, and then that's when she. That's exactly when Sayori hangs herself. Is when Monica deletes her. So that's revealed pretty soon because like I think the first conversation you have with all the girls, like everything goes south, and then Monica like she's in front of the text box and just her face is like zoomed in and you're like, the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, and things just start going south like super quick after that. Did you guys so I think I'm trying to remember when Monica mentions the store page that like I think that's towards the end, right? Where she's like, "Oh, like did you even read the game details or whatever?"
Yes, that's way in the end.
So that's when my screenshots start. So we'll go from there. We'll get to there later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like you get the back and forth between the two, and there's a choice. I forget what the choice is between like Yuri and Natsuki, but they're like yelling at each other, and then you try to click on something, and every time you click on it, it zooms in closer and closer, and then fucking Monica's big ass head is there, and she's like, "Oh, this isn't going very well, is it?"
Yeah.
I have a question. Did you guys get the did you guys unlock any extra poems?
Oh, yes.
Because that's right before that, because I have a screenshot of the choices. I literally have new poem ? And then they started glitching, so I went Yuri face is gone, Natsuki glitched, and then a quote from like the dialogue boxes because like the dialogue and the like font changes.
Yes.
To like the black
bold
bubbles.
Yeah, like bold outlines and like
And I got the most metal screenshot from Yuri with the bolded letters, and it reads Yuri's like doing her pose of like holding her hands up, and she goes, but because the world is full of horrible people and we're all worthless anyway. I was like,
yeah.
And this was in my brain because I knew a little bit. I knew that this was like a horror visual novel where people died, but I didn't know everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, is someone else controlling what she's saying now?
Right.
and then everything else happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of special poems. I think there's 11 of them.
Yeah.
I got 3.
Yeah, I got most of the ones that I got were like images. Like I got the one that's like the glitched out Monica one, and then the one with Sayori, like the stick figure drawing of her. I got that one, and then I think I got the one that says "Can you hear me?" and then the one that's like super redacted.
Yeah. There's actually a bunch that pop up if you leave. I left on accident. I left open that like gameplay or the file for the what's it called, and stuff pops up as you're playing it in the second. So you can keep going back into that file and like keep reading random shit that pops up of her being like in the game.
One of the texts I read that's one of the things that happens in this game is your files get like messed with quite a bit. And there's a text file in there that's like, and I'm pretty sure it's Sayori, I think. No, it's Monica. That's what it is.
They're all Monica, yeah.
Yeah, it says, I hate this. I can't do anything, nothing. No matter how many times you play, it's all the same. It would be really, really easy to kill myself right now, but that would mean I don't get to talk to you anymore. All I want is for you to hate them. Why is that so hard? And that was before I like completed the game. So that's where I was like, I feel bad for her. Like she just wants to talk to the main character, and she is never, ever given an opportunity to, because the others are always like more important in the game's eyes.
Yeah. I had a conspiracy theory that I wrote down during the second round. So, let's see. So I put Sayori kills self and game resets, Sayori not in it. And then I put second round poems change. So the second round of poems are changing. So Monica's first poem was the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
The first time around, and it's kind of like she thinks her neighbor punched a hole in their shared wall. But then at the end of the poem it kind of reveals that the way that the hole is going implies that Monica was the one who punched the hole in the wall. But then her second round about the hole in the wall, it's like alluding to feeling trapped. So my conspiracy theory was that they were stuck in a loop. And every time, but this was I kind of wish that it went this way, but it didn't, but I'm still happy with how it went. In my brain, I came up with a scenario where there was a lot of people in this club, and we're just hopping into the middle of this cyclical thing where people are getting picked off one by one and starting over. You know what I mean? And then because she did write a lot about being trapped. So then I was like, ooh, if I keep going, I wonder if we'll get down to just one person. But and we did, but not the way that I thought.
We sure did.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Yeah, I know. Like this makes me want to watch or like make a visual novel, like something like this that's like just crazy. But it's
I think I was trying to make it make sense that like why Sayori was so distressed at like being turned down. So it's probably also this is me bartering with the game universe.
I mean, you got a completely different vibe, man. Like I didn't know that happened. Because I'll go into like how I completed the game later, but I only got that scene once. Because it's just a bunch of reloading basically. But yeah, there's one thing. So things start to get glitchy. There's a lot of ones where it's like Yuri's eyes start bleeding, or like
I have the creepiest screenshot of one.
Oh yeah, I believe it. There's also the like Sayori's eye becomes the cursor for a minute. And then oh, so you got that like right as she was about to like as Natsuki's about to like snap her neck, right?
I didn't get that. I skipped over Natsuki dying at all.
Really?
Monica just deleted her.
Yeah, I got that on my first playthrough. On my second playthrough is when I got Natsuki like snapping her neck and running at you, and then the next scene she's like fine. It's still based off of what words you're picking, because what I did was I noticed when I started picking Sayori's words that the game would start glitching out and like making weird stuff. So I just tried to find words that I thought Sayori would like when I was after she had killed herself. So which I don't think led anywhere, but it was interesting. Which is why I got like a bunch of the same scenes again. But yeah, that I did notice that there's a way if you check when the text glitches out with the bold black like words, if you check the text history, it changes. Like it's back to normal, which was cool. But yeah, the stuff that I thought was so clever is like the Dan Salvato is utilizing the text box of this game and the fact that you're reading to like make things unsettling out of the corner of your eye because you're looking down at the bottom half of the screen reading, and then like you see like Yuri's eyes bleed for a half a second. You're like, what the fuck did I just see? Like what happened?
Right.
What was that? And then you're like staring at her and nothing happens for like a minute. And then you start reading again and then her eye bleeds again. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? And it's so good to like make you unsettled and be like, what did I just miss?
And the audio, like, because like for me, I had it out loud because I was talking to my boyfriend too. Like I had him on FaceTime, so I was wearing my headphones with my boyfriend, but I also had the audio out. And like in the unsettling moments, you'd hear like a change in the chord, or like there you would literally hear like the blood squirt out of Yuri's eye, and you'd be like, what the fuck? But
yeah,
like,
dude.
just the attention to detail was so cool.
Yeah, it's really really well made. Like the images of the one that you shared, Jess, with like Natsuki's eyes blacked out and then a real person's mouth.
Human's mouth.
And then Yuri's eyes when she starts getting a little crazy are so unsettling.
Hold on, where I put, are we getting freaky in the closet? Get your eyes away from me.
That's so funny. Her eyes like might be the most unsettling thing because I looked at them for so long and I was like, what? Like there's nothing inherently wrong with them. But there's something seriously wrong with them. Grace, how were you feeling during this moment? Like during all of the post Sayori stuff?
I think okay, so I just remembered that in the first round, act 1 of the game, I was already sus on Yuri. I was like, I was freaked out by her because her second poem in the first round is basically about the premeditated murder of a raccoon.
Right.
Like
yeah.
She is operant conditioning this raccoon to be comfortable around her with her knife in the second poem of the first round. So yeah, so I was trying really hard in the second round or act 2 to go with what's her face, Natsuki.
Okay.
But even trying to do that, it forces you into a Yuri path.
In the second act or in the second half of the game, yeah.
In the second act, yeah. Yeah. But and then like there's a lot that you find out about Natsuki's character as well.
Right.
Which she like already kind of gives the impression that she doesn't believe in people, really, you know?
She doesn't want to be home at all, ever.
Yeah, eagles can fly, people can try, but that's about it. You know, like she just does not see a lot of value in humanity. But then yeah, you find out that she's like her dad is abusive and doesn't give her money for food, but also doesn't feed her and like all this stuff. So yeah, I was kind of like frantically trying to avoid Yuri, but it did not work.
Yeah. So this like looking at the poems again, like all of the act 2 ones like do a flip, right?
Yeah.
All of the act 1 ones are like good and cute and like what you would know like expect from their characters. It's during that act 2 stuff that's when things start to get weird. And that's when I theorize that Monica starts messing with the code of these characters. And that's what like hypers like all of their stuff because they obviously all have their own problems, right? But everything goes like tenfold so quickly out of nowhere, where it's like, yeah, these characters might have eventually have gotten to this point, but you would hope that through community and interventions and things like that, things would not happen. But in this world, it happened in one day. Like all of that trauma and stuff like got amplified in one day because the first poem is literally a really I like Yuri's first poem a lot about the light flickering back and like the ghost and stuff like that. I thought it was really cute. But yeah, then the next one you're like, you killed a raccoon.
Yeah. Which
that
is
not okay.
Unforgivable
Yeah.
in my book. I'll tell you
Right. Oh, the other thing I want to bring up for Monica, her second poem is formatted like code, which is really funny because it like has indentations like a code.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, so yeah, you're just a computer. But yeah, so then we get the next like probably like the next traumatizing scene of this game. Basically, you go through the game normally, these weird things happen, right? You can still get like scenes with these characters, except for in this one, like if you did you only get one scene, right? Because then the next scene you're forced with the Yuri stuff.
Yeah.
So the one scene with Natsuki where you read the manga, she falls asleep, which is really cute. But that doesn't happen at all in the first one. And then her eyes black out, and then I think you abandon her, or I forget exactly what happens there, but it's like it's very unsettling because Monica shows up. She shows up in both of them.
I have no clue. I went Yuri path again in the second part.
Yeah, the Yuri one is, in retrospect, like really, really fucked up comparatively.
Yeah.
Because in the original one, you just go and get like, she just goes and gets art supplies or whatever and like comes back, or she gets tea leaves or something like that. And then
she gets water.
Yeah, for the tea. And like it's totally normal. But then in this one you like chase after her. Or not chase after her, you just meet her out in the hallway and like she's got cuts all up and down her arm. There was, oh man, what was it? There was I forget exactly what scene it was, but I think it might be this scene. But when you go outside of the classroom, the music is muffled. So which means the Doki Doki Literature Club theme, which is is just playing in that room. Which is so funny. I like that happened during like all of this clusterfuck of like depressing things happening, and I was just like, that's hilarious. Like that's so funny that like it just exists right there, and you weren't supposed to come out of the classroom because then the music would stop. But yeah, you get those two. I think the creepy thing about Natsuki's is that she's like super aggressive verbally.
She
all of a sudden
hates everyone.
Yeah,
she hates everyone and is so mean.
So I think that's the big difference. But yeah, Yuri's is like she's cutting herself really bad. She's like bleeding like crazy, and then the game rewinds itself, and then Monica like fixes it or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I think we're in like the home stretch, right? After that.
Yeah. I think for the most part, all of the little Easter eggs and stuff that whatever we've missed, like is probably better to just experience because it is really chaotic and it is a clusterfuck. And like,
I would agree.
Yeah. So then, we go to the last twist.
So Grace, I am genuinely curious about like your reactions to this. Like,
I thought it was really well written. I was panic clicking next on all the dialogue though, so I missed the directions of how to like reset.
You were texting me at this point, right?
Yeah, I was texting you at this point. I was also, by the way, in California, this is totally legal, but I was partaking in some herbal refreshments while I was playing this game, which maybe was not a good idea.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like panic clicking through it because I was like, come on, this is crazy. Like, there's no way. But yeah, so Monica's basically self-aware.
Oh wait, we totally missed the scene.
We did?
Yeah, we missed the actual Yuri scene after this.
Can I talk about it? Because I have another silly dialogue thing.
Yeah, because there's 3 acts, right? You get, the way it goes is on the second one, we still get a scene with either Natsuki or Yuri. Then you get one more that's fucked up, and then you that's when you get the scene with Yuri. You're forced to do a Yuri scene after that, and that's where. Go ahead, Jess, and talk about this scene, because this scene is fucked, dude.
I can't remember it.
I can't remember the dialogue right before it. So if you do, by all means, you explain.
She basically Yuri like
right.
she expresses her love to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can say either "I love you too" or "I don't love you,"
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
and then shit goes sideways, regardless
right,
of choice. By the way,
Yeah, it's the same no matter what.
Right before that, she also was talking about like wanting to like kill and blood and knives and stuff. And so like even though I was romancing her, I was like, that's a little too crazy for me. Like
a lot of red flags here.
there's a lot of red flags. So I was like, I said, nah, this girl's crazy. And then in all caps, stab.
Yeah.
So basically, whether or not you tell Yuri that you love her or not, because Monica mentions that whenever Yuri's happy, she'll still inflict pain on herself. Because she gets like a high off of it. But so I went with I don't love you, and she, like goes all fucking bug-eyed and stabs herself in the stomach and continuously like jabs it back
in the heart too.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then it goes, so it's stab with like 3 question marks. And then how long is this death monologue? It's been 3 days.
Yeah.
Because at first I was just clicking. I was just clicking, and the monologue is not, it's all the like random like
it's
things.
nothing.
So I was just clicking through because I was like, I don't want to miss anything. And then I saw like the skip button at
highlighted.
The bottom. Yeah. So I was like, skip. And I still sat here for like 2 minutes. Like, damn, this is a long time. And then my next little tidbit is, Natsuki. Oh, Natsuki threw up.
Yeah. Dude, the art on her throw up is crazy. It's the best art of the non like art scenes. Like the art, like her, I was like, damn, that's really well done.
Yeah. I have what's it called? Edemophobia? The fear of other people throwing up. I saw it and I had to like start clicking because
it's really
I
well
hear
done.
Someone gag, I will start gagging and throw up.
Is this where you had to cover your face?
I was like, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah.
Of all the things.
The vomit.
Yeah. But yeah, that scene with like the time changes, it goes through 3 days, the whole weekend, because it happens on a Friday.
To get gaunt too.
Her eye color fades too. I was like, oh, that's so well done. Like it is so well done.
I don't know how I skipped right over that.
That's our character. We stayed for her entire thing.
Yeah,
like
the whole thing.
At least she wasn't alone.
Yeah, that's right.
And then and then Monica shows up and she's like, "Oh shit, have you been here all weekend?" and that's when we get to Grace's scene with you're basically at the end of the world. It's just you and Monica in a classroom with like the literal like space apocalypse happening behind you.
Because she fucked with the code so much, the whole game fell apart, basically. Yeah. So yeah, then I think I stayed and talked to her for like way too long because again, herbal refreshments. I was just like, this is nuts. But yeah, she like, and if you try to do, I think I tried to like close the game and load it.
Yep, me too.
And then she's like, did you try to like she'll like call you out for like you trying to get out of it. But she does tell you how to get rid of her.
Did you try to save?
I did.
Yeah.
No.
If you go to save, I have the screenshot and it says, if you click on the save button, it says, there's no point in saving anymore. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I know, because right before this happens, she, like, her last fact of the day is like, oh, when you have a choice to make, you can always save and go back to it in case you want to try again. And so I was like, as soon as we got to the new scene, I was like, let me try saving. And it was like, you can't save. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
There's also another thing where one of my favorite things that Monica does is she takes control of your cursor at one point. Did you guys experience that?
I fought that and I was able to click somebody else. But
really? You were able to click
somebody
somebody else?
That.
So you might have chosen Monica. That's why. Because there's a point where you can choose between the 3. And if you choose anybody else, if you try to select like Yuri, it pulls it back down to Monica. And then if you are able to pull away, it like gets rid of other choices, right?
Yeah, so I was able to, because I was like fighting, my cursor was trying to slide down and I was trying to click really fast. I got Sayori, or not Sayori, Natsuki, and then there's like a glitch and then there's like a gajillion buttons and it all just says Monica. Like over and over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that point where it's like only Monica. Okay.
Yeah, but it like takes over your whole screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
She's not happy. She's not happy.
No, I did choose Monica in that point because I was like, well, I haven't had to spend time with her at all, so why not?
I'm saying, man, I feel bad for her. But
Yeah.
did you guys, when she said, did you not read the game details? Did you guys go look at the game
I
details?
went right back to the game details. And then, hold on.
I have
what
a
was it again?
screenshot
I
of
can't
it.
remember.
So it literally says about this game. This is on the official Steam page. It says, "Hi, Monica here." She's like talking right away in the game details. She goes, "Welcome to the Literature Club. It's always been a dream of mine to make something special out of the things I love. Now that you're a club member, you can help me make that dream come true in this cute game." So she's like already self-aware. Every day is full of chit chat and fun activities with all of my adorable and unique club members. Sayori, the youthful bundle of sunshine who values happiness the most. Natsuki, the deceivingly cute girl who packs an assertive punch. Yuri, the timid and mysterious one who finds comfort in the world of books. And of course, Monica, the leader of the club. That's me. I'm super excited for you to make friends with everyone and help the Literature Club become a more intimate place for all my members. But I can already tell that you're a sweetheart. Will you promise me to spend the most time with me?
Oh.
Ooh.
And you have no option to do that in the game. So,
that's crazy.
That's why she's like, did you not read the game details? And it's like, oh my God. Like, all she wants is for you to spend time with her, and you can't.
That is pretty sad.
Yeah. And that's why I felt really bad for her, but then I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah.
I remember when she was going through like all her like monologues and all the little dialogue we had at this end stage. She was like, she was talking about how hard it was to like go and find how to delete people. And she was like, oh, and you're on Steam, which makes it even harder. And I was like, oh my God, that's like scary. And then she's like, do you even go by Jess or do you go by, and then she used my Steam name, which is still, it's Jess and it's my handle on everything. So I was like, oh my God, that's crazy.
She called me Mr. The. I was like, you left off a part of my name. But yeah, Grace, what did you think about that part where it was like it called you out by your like username?
I thought that was really cool and clever. And then I started fucking with the game after that.
Oh yeah, as you should.
Yeah. So then
that's how you beat it.
Right. I mean, right. I uninstalled it and then reinstalled it. And then I immediately deleted Monica before anything even started. And that unlocked its own cutscene. It does not let you do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happens is you delete Monica and then you start a new game. After you've uninstalled and reinstalled, I like deleted everything.
Yeah.
It cuts to Sayori. Right. Yeah, Sayori. Like in front of your guys' houses, and she's like, no, not again, not again. And then it cuts to a cutscene of her hanging again, and then it starts over. Yeah, so you can't delete Monica. It doesn't let you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's no way to play without Monica.
Which leads into your loop thing more too. Where she's like, Sayori's immediately self-aware.
Exactly. That's why I was like,
I have a theory as to why she was self-aware in that, but we'll get to that.
Sure.
Yeah, so like what you're supposed to do in that moment is delete Monica while she's in that room with you. And then that like basically makes the game inoperable. Like you can't play it anymore. And that's when you have to reinstall. And I mean that's the game, right? Like that's your normal playthrough is you end this game by deleting Monica and breaking the game. Like there's nothing left. It's very reminiscent of Undertale when you get the dark ending on that. The game is just desolate and you can't you turn the game on and it's just a bunch of wind noises because nothing's there.
You delete Monica in this, like if you play it again, right? You can delete Monica at the stage, but where Sayori is dead already, right? That's like the I think that's the only acceptable space that lets you do it.
After the first half. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah,
So then,
what was
you
your
got the
guys'
true-
like? I got the true ending. It took me 3 hours. So basically what you have to do is, well, let's talk about totally forgot. We didn't discuss like the credits or anything, which were like when the credits hit and the Doki Doki Literature Club theme song started playing.
Mhm.
And then Monica, who has been practicing piano secretly, which was a lie. She's fucking with the code whenever she's late. That's what she's doing.
Oh.
She's like fucking with the code, pretending to like learn how to play piano. When she starts, she's like, hello. When she started talking, chills immediately. I was like, I didn't remember this. I was like, oh fuck. Like she's talking to me right now. And then she starts singing the song. She's like, every day. And I was like, what the fuck, Monica? But I loved that. That was
I
like
thought that was
honestly
really cute.
I thought that was my favorite part of the game, honestly. And like because it was just like there's no voice acting in this game at all. And then all of a sudden there's a hello, can you hear me? And I was like, oh, what? It made me so uncomfortable. I'm like sweating again thinking about it because I wrote that down. I was like, I was sweating at this point. I was like, Monica's talking. She's the theme song. Those were my notes. But yeah, so then you start going through the credits and it shows they're called CGs, which is like a term that was like coined in Japan and just got brought over, but that's basically any art scenes basically. So it's scrolling through, and if you have them they're colored, right? And if they're not, they're grayscale. But they start getting deleted as you're going through them, which was really sad. And I legit was like so upset at the end when it like deletes the hug scene with you and Sayori. I was like bummed because I was like, no, that was like the one happy moment in this fucking game. But basically, what happens in the true ending is that none of those get deleted. And the way to do it is you have to in one technical playthrough, you have to get all of the CGs, which basically means at the very first poem, you save there. And you play through it and you do all of the Yuri stuff and you pick Yuri and you go through and you get to the point of Sayori, and you get the hug scene. And before that scene ends, you reload back to that first one, do it again with Sayori, do it again with Natsuki. Then that way you get all of those scenes. And then at the end, when you delete Monica, you start the game again and she's gone. And because that's the other thing. Yeah, you delete Monica, the game resets and you go into the world and Monica's gone and Sayori is the president now. And my theory is not that Monica was self-aware, but whoever the president is self-aware.
Yeah,
because that's why when you delete Monica, and Sayori becomes right there in that instant, she becomes the president. That's why she's like, I know everything now. Like she's like burdened with this knowledge. I also loved the special thanks, Monica and Eric, or whatever your name is at the end of the credits. It says special thanks, and it's like Monica and then your character's name, which was very funny.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh yeah, so you go through all that, and then instead of the normal scene, you like talk with Sayori, and before the game ends, she says, I took a screenshot of like the quote, and this is basically you get the credits that are different, and then you get a letter from Dan Salvato. Like he writes there's a handwritten letter that you get at the end. So it says, there's actually something else. I wanted to thank you for spending so much time with all of us. You worked so hard to make each and every one of us happy. You comforted us through our hard times and you helped us all get along with each other. Do you get it? Character name. Because I'm president now, I understand everything. You really didn't want to miss a single thing in this game, did you? You saved and loaded so many times just to make sure you could spend time with everyone. Only someone who truly cares about the literature club could go that far. Where is it? But all along, that's all I ever wanted, for everyone to be happy and care about each other. It's kind of sad, you know. After all you've done for us, there isn't much I can do for you in return. We've already reached the end of the game, so this is where we say goodbye. Thank you for playing Doki Doki Literature Club. And it says, I'm going to miss you. Come visit sometime, okay? We'll always be here for you. and then it says we, and then it's basically the normal thing. But I was like, dang,
Mhm.
that's so cute. Like,
I
it's like
know.
you put forth all this effort, and then it's like, thank you for doing that. Like, you knew there was nothing to be done, but you still wanted to make sure everybody had like a happy time. And I was like, damn, it makes me want to play all the bonus scenes in the paid version.
Mm-hmm.
But let me pull up the letter from Dan Salvato. So at the end of the credits, you actually get like all nothing gets deleted. So you have all the CGs highlighted, and it just actually ends like normal, which is nice. Because those getting deleted sucked. I was like, wait, no, that was those are the memories, right? That's Sayori's thing. She's like, you're like taking away the memories. Okay, so there's a handwritten like on like college ruled notebook paper. To the special player who achieved this special ending. For years, I have been enamored by the ability, visual novels and games in general, to tell stories in ways not possible using traditional media. Doki Doki Literature Club is my love letter to that. Games are an interactive art. Some let you explore new worlds. Some challenge your mind in broad new ways. Some may make you feel like a hero or a friend, even when life is hard on you. Some games are just plain fun, and that's okay too. Everyone likes different. Everyone likes different kinds of games. People who enjoy dating sims may have a heightened empathy for fictional characters, or they might be experiencing feelings that life has not been kind enough to offer them. If they are enjoying themselves, then that's all that matters. That goes for shooting games, casual games, sandbox games, anything. Preferences are preferences, and our differences are the reason we have a thriving video game industry. My own favorite games have always been ones that challenge the status quo. Even if not a masterpiece, any game that attempts something wildly different may earn a special place in my heart. Anything that further pushes the limitless bounds of interactive mold. I extend my true gratitude to all those who have taken the time to achieve full completion. I hope you enjoyed playing this game as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you for being a part of my literature club, Dan Salvato. And I was like, completely unnecessary. And I'm like, that is such a nice thing. Like, I don't think I've completed a grip of games in my life, and I don't think I've ever gotten something that like personal from it. And like, yeah, him talking about, games as an art, and as long as they're trying to make something that's different, that it's worth it, and like all these different types of games are valid and stuff. It's like, it was so good. I loved it. But yeah, that's it. I think it's fun. That's the game. Maybe down the road we'll circle back around, and we'll all play the plus version and get just to have a fun time, because nothing bad happens in the side stories. They're all just like typical dating sim stuff. So maybe we can do that someday. But for now, this traumatizing game is over and done with. But any closing thoughts?
I thought it was really well written. Like it was just good,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I liked the character development. I liked the twists. I liked the degree of like amplified their fucked upness gets. Like I just think it was and I did get to read that note because I like Googled like what the true ending was, and I was like reading all the spoilers and stuff. And I mean I do think especially like you guys are content creators, I'm a content creator. When somebody reaches out and has like really, really engaged with your shit, and it's like it's genuinely meaningful and fulfilling. So like I see where he's coming from when he's like wants to add that, because I always feel like I want to talk to people in that way also, be like, you have no idea how much it means to me that you like sent me an email. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
all of these little things, like we really put our heart into the stuff that we make. Just anyone who does anything like art wise. And I really related to him as a artist, and also like just his art that he made. So I think that's really cool.
This was his first like official game too,
Which is
like
insane.
bonkers. And he was like, it's free. Like,
yeah,
crazy.
good for him, man.
Yeah. I like the game. I loved the character designs. I loved and also I also look at like visual novels and dating sims through the eyes of like an actor too, because theater kid. And like just the depth of the characters and like, because in my brain I'm always like, what could we do to make this video game like a real life thing? Because people have done that, or like even board games. Like one of my favorite shows I've ever done is Clue on stage.
Yeah.
Like, and there's just so many opportunities for this, like for you to choose your own like adventure, obviously, but also it's just like there's so many opportunities to do so much with this game, and it's crazy that this is his first game and that he made it free.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, this is it. I think it does a really cool thing where it's like one of my favorite animes is Steins Gate, which was based off of a visual novel, right? But like if you think about this, the Doki Doki Literature Club, like it is a video game. Like you can't really do this in any other form of media. Like you couldn't do these twists. You couldn't do like it's so much a video game that it's like limited. It like cannot really be adapted to something else, right? Because it's supposed to be you, right? Playing through the avatar and then them calling you out. Like that can't be done in any other format really. Because if you're an audience member watching it, whether it's on like a movie or a stage play or not, you're taken out of it. You're watching it. Like it's you're participating in it. And it's just so crazy. Like
I feel like it'd be a good, that one Black Mirror episode where you chose everything?
Yeah, Bandersnatch.
Oh.
Like, I feel like that'd be so sick.
That would be pretty cool. You would have to basically do that. Yeah. Like it basically be Bandersnatch is a video game, basically. Like
it's a visual novel.
Yeah, basically. That's what it is. It's a fully acted visual novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game's incredible. Like I think I mean, if you've gotten this far, you've probably played it, but if you haven't, it's still worth playing. Even with knowing all the stuff that I knew, it was still worth playing. Because that, like, going back to the scene where Sayori hangs herself, I forgot there was a scene in between. So when I walked into the room and she wasn't hanging, and it was just the first scene, I was like, oh shit, like she's still alive. Like, and then I was like, wait, when does it happen? But then, yeah, so going in, you'll still get shocked on certain.
Yeah, as much as like if you've made it this far and you haven't listened or you haven't played it, like as much as we've spoiled almost every aspect, you're still gonna get surprised because like there's so much that we just can't cover because of how deep this game goes.
Yeah.
There's also the vibe. You can't replicate that by us telling you it. But like the scene where Natsuki, like her neck bends and she flies at the screen, like I can't, that's freaky. Like I can tell you about that, but you'll still not be ready because it comes out of nowhere. Like it is really scary.
There's a lot of Easter eggs. A lot.
Yeah. So I think that's about it. I don't think we have anything else to talk about, but I'm definitely glad that we did this at the time that it did. Hit us with the socials. Why don't you?
All right. You can find us everywhere at Short Long Pod on Instagram, Threads. We don't really use Twitter, but we've got an account there still, I think.
Yeah, we do.
And in our bios there, you could find our link tree to our Discord Leveling Friends group. We are the little gaming community where we just talk. And there's other content creators there too.
Yeah.
Grace, where can our listeners find you?
Grace is there. She's not there
I'm
very
there.
often, but
I'm
there.
not active on that Discord. I'm so sorry. Hi. Yeah, I have a podcast called In God's Name, an Unseen Cult. You can find that on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can find me on Instagram at In God's Name Pod, and I have a link tree so you can figure out where to find me everywhere else.
Yeah. It'll be in the description. If you haven't followed Grace by now, what are you doing? This is like her fifth time on the show.
I know. I'm just like harassing these guys.
And she'll be back next month.
That's right.
But yeah.
I am Monica.
Yeah. She's been controlling everything the whole time. Grace will be back for finally we're going to be playing we're going to be talking about Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. So that'll be great. That's going to be the November episode. Next up is Sucker for Love, A Date to Die For. Our other rent payer is coming back, Chris, which will be fun for our double header for our 2-year anniversary. our first official episode came out on October 3rd of 2022. And our first real short game long talk was on Halloween.
Oh, nice.
So this is our special month, but me and Jess talked about this the other day. There's no way in hell next year we'll be able to do 3 games for the 3rd year anniversary. So I think going forward, October is going to be our rule breaking month where we're going to play a longer game. Not an exceptionally long. I'm not going to force anyone to play Persona and listen to me talk about it for 5 fucking hours. But we will play longer games. And I think what we're going to finally do is the game that I think we've been talking about since the first year.
Since the beginning.
Jess, do you want to say what we're going to play for October of next year?
October of 2024. Or 2025. Sorry. I'm still in 2023. We will be playing, or we'll be talking about Super Mario Odyssey. Because we've been doing that since we started the game, the show.
I think last summer we both started playing it, but Jess is going to 100% the game. That's her goal by next year. I'm just gonna beat it again, because I don't have time for that. There's too many moons in that game. But yeah, that's our plan for next year. We also have some new plans that we'll kind of talk about more for the Game of the Year Spectacular in December. I also there'll be another Game of the Year, like an actual 2024 Game of the Year with Chris and Jordan from Cognitive Clips. So lots of things happening. Lots of things happening. But if you guys enjoyed this, if it's your first time here, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. It really helps everything grow, gets our name out there. Spotify is winning with I think it's 15 reviews versus 3 on Apple Podcasts. So if you're an Apple Podcast listener, maybe step the game up a little bit. You can actually put words down. Maybe do that. And if you're a returning listener, which welcome. I think there's 30 of you, which is great. Go spread the word, force people to listen and, grab their phone and subscribe. But with that, we'll see you guys next time. And don't forget to kidnap your friends.
Bye.
Every day I imagine a future where I can be with you.
All right. We did it.
All right.
What a game.
Just a chill 2 hours. No intermission, no lead up. 2 fucking hours. I made the correct call
with this one.
For 4:30.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? 2 hours, basically. That's
insane.